Greetings. Last week's video I talked about repurposing your content. You know, we all have a lot of content, at least if we're content creators. If you're not, then this isn't for you. But if you are, if you've written blog posts or if you've done videos or whatever, sometimes you can find a way to repurpose that content. One of the things I've been doing with some of my blogs is going back to some of my older articles and rewriting them and re-releasing them as new. And that's one way that you can repurpose some of your content. I mentioned last week how Google really only tracks your last 1,000 or something like that. If it's really old, they won't even track that. They'll just have it somewhere way down deep where it's there, but it's not really doing anything for you. However, if you refresh it, then you can do something. Now, something else you can do with your content is what I'm going to do today. I wrote a blog post back in 2015, and it's called 9 Social Media Mistakes That People Make. And I'm only going to share 3 of them here because I don't want this being really long. And then I'm going to link to the blog post so you can read it if you're in the mood. But if you're not, I'm keying on these 3 because these 3 really irk the heck out of me. They just do. So here's the first one. You need to add pictures to your profiles. I don't understand why people won't add a picture to themselves. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're going to be on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, add a picture. Now, on LinkedIn, you need to add a personal picture. Don't add a picture of your dog. Don't add a picture of flowers or whatever. LinkedIn is supposed to be for business. Add a picture of yourself. But on every other platform, at least have a picture. Don't have this blank fake head screen or whatever they use. I know Twitter has that. They don't even consider those real accounts. As a matter of fact, they'll probably ban most of those accounts later on. They've already started doing that. Same with Facebook. I mean, come on. Really? You're not going to put a picture up on Facebook? Why have a Facebook page if you're not going to put one up? Now, I know some guys who haven't put one up, but they're like in their late 60s, early 70s. They may not even know how to do it. But if you're not an old person, then come on, get with it, okay? Now, here's the second thing that irks me. You know, there's been all this talk about fake news. And one of the things that we sometimes try to do is we try to tell someone, hey, you know, what you just put up or what you just shared isn't real. It's not true. We can prove to you that it's not true. And in the blog post, I mentioned how there was someone I knew who put something up that I knew was fake. And so I told her it was fake. And she said, no, it's real. So then I shared with her 4 or 5 real things, telling her how it wasn't true. And then she said I was beating her up and I was bullying her. And I said, I'm not bullying you. I'm just trying to tell you that the stuff you're putting out there isn't right. And then she says, I will believe what I want to believe. I mean, you know what? That's a real thing, I guess. But why would you want to believe something that's not true? I mean, there's this thing about the Harvard study, and most of you probably heard this thing, where they did this study for all these students who were in Harvard back in the 50s, and they wrote this thing down, their goals, and then years later they did this test and found out that the people who wrote it down actually succeeded in their goals, and those who did not succeed in their goals. And you know what? It's fake. It never happened, but there are still tons of people who quote that. If you go online, you will find people who are quoting that and telling it. Zig Ziglar told that story as the truth. It ain't true. It didn't happen. So, if you can verify your stuff before you put it out, we can get rid of fake news really quick. Unless you're a Russian troll, in which case, you know what, you're a Russian troll. That's just how that's going to be. And here's the last thing. There are other social media sites than the ones I talk about. Obviously, I'm talking about the big ones, Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook, Google Plus, if you consider that big time. Anyway, there's a bunch of them that are coming out, and they're all brand new. But you know what's irritating? What's irritating is when someone finds out about it, and then they decide they're going to tell everybody about it. And they're constantly doing it. And sometimes they add you to something without even asking if you want to be a part of it. I hate that mess. You know what? It's great that you have now found something out. Maybe you send something to a few people. If you send it to your best buddies and you say, hey, look here, I just found this thing, take a look at it. Send it to your best buddies. They care. If I'm not one of your best buddies, don't include me in it. Please don't add me to anything because I'm going to drop that. Most probably I'm going to drop you. I don't have a lot of people who do that. I used to. on Facebook, and I am not receiving anything more from those people because that was irksome. It's just like the same people who add you to these stupid games on Facebook. That used to happen. That never happens to me anymore either because I blocked those people. You know, just because you really like something doesn't mean everyone will. Don't bring people into it. Anyway, those are my 3 things. There's 9 of them. I'm going to include the link to the post. Let me know. What mistakes do you think that other people make on social media you wish they didn't do? Or maybe you're making a mistake and you're saying, you know what, I really need to stop that. Or maybe you have a tip on the best things to do on social media. Y'all let me know. My name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope you have a wonderful day.